Hey, welcome to The Explainer. If you're a fan of clear, fascinating stories from history, do us a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss what we dive into next.
We use it literally every single day, but have you ever stopped to wonder who actually invented money? Well, to find the answer, we have to go way back, about 2,700 years, to a pretty much forgotten kingdom in Anatolia. And let me tell you, it's a story packed with wealth, scandal, and an idea that completely changed the world.
All right, so our story kicks off in the ancient kingdom of Lydia. If you look at a map today, you'd find it in what is now Western Turkey.
Now, the Lydians had a pretty good. They controlled this really fertile and strategic piece of land. It was basically a bridge between the big civilizations of the East and the West, and their capital, the great city of Sardis, was right at the heart of it all. But their real power, the stuff of legends, well, that came from a single, glittering source.
Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about King Midas from the Midas touch myth. The legend goes that the Pactolus River was just loaded with gold and silver, a natural alloy. And this gave the Lydian kings just an insane amount of wealth, enough to build a seriously powerful empire.
So all this wealth, it laid the groundwork for a brand new royal family to take over, the Mermanid dynasty. But oh man, the story of how they got started, it is pure, unadulterated drama.
Yeah, this dynasty that would literally change the world, its story doesn't begin with some noble battle. Nope, it starts with a pretty scandalous plot.
So this is the Mermanid dynasty. They ruled Lydia when it was at the absolute peak of its power. But the guy who founded it, Gyges, well, he seized the throne in such a wild way that the famous historian Herodotus just had to write it all down.
Okay, so the story goes like this. The king, Candaulius, was completely obsessed with how beautiful his wife was. He was so proud, he just had to prove to someone she was the most beautiful woman alive. So what does he do? He forces his most trusted bodyguard, Gyges, to hide in their bedroom and secretly watch her undress. Seriously. But of course, the plan completely backfires. The queen catches a glimpse of Gyges sneaking out, and the next day, feeling totally humiliated and furious, she confronts him. She gives him an ultimatum. And Gyges? He chose to live. He did it. He assassinated his own king, married the queen, and just like that, founded a brand new dynasty. It is a shocking, unbelievable start for sure, but it's what put Lydia on a completely new path, one that would change history. By the way, if you're enjoying these kinds of deep dives into the wild stories of history, this is a perfect time to hit that subscribe button and join us for all our future explainers. Okay, so with the throne now secured through, let's call it unconventional means, let's see what this new dynasty did with all that Lydian wealth.
All right, so let's get to the invention that changed everything, money. Before the Lydians came along, trade was, well, it was a mess. It was clumsy. You either had to barter goods, like I'll trade you some of my grain for your cloth, or you had to carry around these chunks of precious metal and weigh them for every single transaction.
As you can imagine, that was super slow and really unreliable. The Lydians, though, they were a culture of merchants. They were even called the people of the market. They needed a better system. Plus, they had these huge armies with mercenaries who needed to get paid, right? They needed a fast, efficient way to handle all their money.
And their solution was just pure genius. It happened in about 3 steps. First, they started with that electrum, the natural gold-silver mix from their rivers. The problem was, the amount of gold to silver was never the same, so its value was all over the place. So then, King Alyattes had a revolutionary idea. He started stamping these electrum lumps with an official seal, the Lydian lion, and that stamp was a guarantee of its weight and its value. This, right here, was the world's first official coin. Then his son, the famous Croesus, took it one step further. He figured out how to separate the metals and created the first pure gold and pure silver coins. That bimetallic system, it was reliable, transparent, and it was about to change everything.
So under King Croesus, Lydia hit its absolute peak. His name became so legendary for wealth, truly synonymous with it, that it's still used today. There's a Turkish saying, "Karun gibi zengin," which means, you guessed it, as rich as Croesus.
But you know how these stories often go. Great power and great wealth can often lead to great overconfidence. Hubris, right? Croesus was sitting on top of the world, but he got ambitious. He set his sights on the rising Persian Empire, which was led by the legendary Cyrus the Great.
So, looking for a sign, Croesus goes to the famous oracle at Delphi. He asks what'll happen if he attacks Persia, and the oracle gives him this super cryptic answer: if you go to war, you will destroy a great kingdom. Well, Croesus heard exactly what he wanted to hear. He was so sure the prophecy meant he was going to destroy Persia. So, feeling totally confident, he marched his army off to war. 546 BCE. That's the year Croesus' army was crushed, and his capital, Sardis, was sacked by the Persians. The great kingdom the oracle said he would destroy was tragically his own. And Herodotus tells us that the oracle later claimed this was all fated to happen. It was divine payback for the crime of the dynasty's founder, Gyges, all those generations ago. So the story that started with a shocking assassination ended with the complete collapse of an empire. And just like that, the Lydian kingdom was gone. It was just swallowed up by the massive Persian Empire. But their greatest invention? It was just getting started. And this is the most important takeaway. While the Lydian kingdom itself fell, their idea was way too powerful to just disappear. You see, it wasn't just about making trade easier. It was about creating a totally abstract concept, value, that was guaranteed by the state. The idea that a symbol stamped by a government meant more than the physical metal itself, that was the real revolution. The Persians immediately saw how powerful this was and adopted it. And from there, it just spread like wildfire to the Greeks, to the Romans, and eventually, well, to the entire world. So today, the Lydian kingdom is mostly just ruins and legends. But their real legacy isn't just buried in these massive tombs. It's in your pocket. It's in your wallet. Every single time you use a coin or a bill or even make a digital payment, you are participating in a system of trust and guaranteed value that these people came up with thousands of years ago. Which really makes you think, what's the civilization's greatest legacy? The empires they build or the ideas they invent? I mean, the Lydian Empire itself lasted for less than 200 years, but their idea, the invention of money, has shaped human history for more than 2,000 years. It's a really fascinating question. Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history.